y'all, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. As you can see, I'm in a completely different setup this week. It's the week before Christmas and I've come home for the holidays, but as you know, I've already finished my holiday TBR. I've done all of my holiday book reviews. I did my review and rating of all of the books that I read, so it's time for our next TBR. You ready? My next selection of books seems seasonally appropriate, I guess. It's going to be a winter-themed selection. So all of these books will either be set in a wintry setting, they'll have some kind of winter theme, they'll be set in the winter, I don't know, something wintry about them. So y'all, here are the books that I'll be reading in no particular order. First, I have Northern Lights by Nora Roberts. Y'all, look at this beast. This is a commitment. I don't know what made me think I wanted to read this book. I have no idea where I found it, but I saw Nora Roberts' name on it. I hear her name a lot and I haven't read any of her books. I mentioned this book to my mom, who is a prolific reader, and asked if she'd read any Nora Roberts, and she said, I've read all the Nora Roberts. So Mom says Nora Roberts is good. I believe Nora Roberts is good. So I am going to read Northern Lights by Nora Roberts. I have no idea what it's about, but it looks very wintry. Look at the cover. Now I know what was the book I judged by its cover last time and it turned out not to be Christmassy? Oh, Jingle All the Way. That wasn't just judged by the cover though, y'all. It was called Jingle All the Way. Whatever, don't judge me. I am, however, judging Northern Lights, that it's going to be a wintry theme book. We'll see. And I'm thinking, doesn't Nora Roberts write romances? So I'm going with Northern Lights being a wintry themed romance, but I know nothing about it. Next is Winter in Paradise by Elin Hilderbrand. Elin Hilderbrand writes a lot of books. This one, I believe, is about a wife who finds out that her husband isn't the person that she thought he was. From what I understand, it starts off in a wintry Chicago and ends up in a winter paradise. So I thought that counted for my winter theme. So Winter in Paradise by Elin Hilderbrand is my next read. My next book is Love Lettering by Kate Clayborn. From what I understand, it's about a woman who lives in New York and works as a calligrapher, hence the love lettering. I believe it's a romance. I think the main character is maybe a famous calligraphy artist, and she gets into some kind of drama with the people in one of the weddings that she's doing the invitations for. I'm not really sure. I'll report back and let y'all know what I find out about this one. Peace Like a River by Leif Enger is set in Minnesota, which I can tell you from experience is a wintry setting. Even in the spring, Minnesota can be a wintry setting. It's told from the point of view of a young boy who tells us of the hardship that he and his family go through living in a small town in northern Minnesota. I believe his older brother ends up defending the family some kind of how, and then the brother ends up on the run and maybe the family goes to find him. I'm not sure. That's all that I think I know about it, but I've seen it referred to as a modern classic, so I have really high expectations. The reviews, every review that I've read is either a 1-star or a 5-star. So they're either rave reviews or why oh why did you make me read this book? So I'm looking forward to reading it to see, if nothing else, why the reviews are like that. Why it's either love it or hate it and nothing in between. So I will report back and let you know what I learn about this little boy, what I find out about Peace Like a River, and whether I'm a love it or a hate it, or if I'm a rare somewhere in between. Kristin Hannah's The Great Alone is my next winter read. Y'all, this book is critically acclaimed. I've read reviews likening it to Where the Crawdads Sing, and y'all, I love that book. So I'm expecting great things from this book. It's about a young family that moves to Alaska to homestead after the dad comes back from Vietnam, and about the struggles that they go through, not just with the homesteading and dealing with the hardships of living in Alaska, but also in their personal relationships and dealing with the struggles that the dad has with coming back from Vietnam. So it sounds fantastic. I'm excited. I'll probably start this one first. I'm excited to get started and to come back and tell you what I think. My next book is another book set in Alaska. It's called The Tourist Attraction. It's the first of a trilogy set in a small town in Alaska, and it seems like it's that classic struggle between the people in the small town wanting the small town to stay the way it is, but then developers coming in and wanting to build it up and bring in tourists and tourist money and all of that. I think it'll be really fun, and I'm excited for a story set in small town Alaska. The Yiddish Policeman's Union is another of my Alaska books that I'm going to read this go-round. This is an alternative history in which post-World War II, Jewish people are moved to Alaska instead of settling in Israel post-Holocaust. Alternative histories aren't really my bag, but this seems really interesting. I have a great deal of interest in Jewish history, and I love Alaska, so put those two together and I'm in. I've read some other works by this author, and this is a #1 national bestseller, so I have very high expectations and I'm really excited to get started. My last new book on my TBR is How the Penguins Saved Veronica. And y'all, this book has an interesting premise. So Veronica is an older woman who is estranged from her family and is looking for somewhere to leave her money. She's not going to leave it to her family. She wants to find a worthwhile cause, and she watches a documentary on penguins in like Antarctica or somewhere and decides that's what she's going to do. She's going to spend her money to save the penguins. So I think she goes on an expedition to Antarctica maybe to learn about the penguins or to learn about saving the penguins. I'm not really sure, but something about penguins and Antarctica and Veronica, and I'm guessing that as Veronica goes to save the penguins end up saving Veronica. I'm not really sure, but when I figure it out, I'll let you know. Y'all, I said that Veronica was the last new book on my TBR because I cannot have a winter reading list without including the Beartown trilogy. Now, I know that Beartown isn't new. It came out, I actually just counted on my fingers because it came out in 2016, and I actually had to count because I cannot believe that I've been in love with Benji Ovich for 6 years. And if you know, you know. So I am going to reread Beartown, Us Against You, and The Winners, and we're going to talk about them. Now, I've read all 3 books all the way through. I've listened to Beartown and Us Against You on Audible and read them both, and I've only listened to The Winners. So I'm going to actually physically read each of the books, cover to cover, start to finish, including The Winners, and then we'll talk about them. And I think it's going to be a much different experience, especially rereading Us Against You and The Winners, knowing what happens and when it happens. My plan right now is to do a conversation about the books spoiler-free. Now, I might do a spoiler-free conversation and then a conversation with spoilers. I don't know. We'll see when that comes because I'm not sure that we can talk about Us Against You and The Winners and keep it completely spoiler-free for Beartown. So what I might do is have a spoiler-free Beartown conversation and then stop there and say, go read Beartown and then come back. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm thinking I've literally a dozen books to read. So that's it, y'all. That's my winter themed TBR. Those are the books that I'm going to be reading as we really get into winter in the Northland. Let me know what you're reading. Do you prefer wintry themed books in the winter, or are you more of an escapist, reading sunny, beach themed books when it gets cold and blustery outside? Let me know what you're reading, and let me know if you have any wintry themed recommendations for me to add to my TBR. Y'all, thank you so much for coming to my channel. If you haven't already done so, subscribe and hit that notification bell. I upload new food and fitness videos every Monday with some book videos sprinkled in between. See ya on the next one.